Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
We're on mute. Yeah.
I really appreciate your participation with the Build Out live stream every Wednesday at noon Eastern Daylight Time. The stream will be starting in just 1 minute. In the meantime, let me take this opportunity to talk to you about the live streaming studio that I use to stream Build Out with Jim Kunkel. StreamYard is a live streaming browser-based studio that allows you to interview guests, share your screen, and much more. With StreamYard, you can multi-stream directly to your website, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and for those who qualify, live stream here on LinkedIn. So now's the time to start live streaming. In the event post and on the video description is a referral link for a $10 credit when you become a paid subscriber to StreamYard. Today on Build Out, my guests are David and Steve from the Community Association Car Chat Webcast. David and Steve are here for a conversation on webcasting and content creation. Okay, let's get the conversation with David and Steve started. Hey, welcome to the Build Out broadcast. I'm Jim Kunkel. Today joining me are my guests, David and Steve from the Community Association Car Chat. David, Steve, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having us, Jim.
Hey, Jim, how are you?
It's great to have you. You and I, well, both of you and I have had conversations for some time now, so this is a long time coming, and I'm really excited to have you both on today. So before we get into our conversation and talk about the Community Association Car Chat, I do have some clips that I'd like to play for everyone to check out and get to learn a little bit about you. Now, these are your promos, and then we'll go ahead and we'll start talking about the car chat after that.
I'm not worried right now.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
Yeah, you know what, David? I was kind of thinking the same thing. It might be time to spice it up just a little bit.
I like the idea, Steve. Do you want to do another one on the boat?
Oh no, I'm not doing another boat episode. What do you got that might be interesting?
How about this one?
I don't know about that.
How about this one, Steve? I think I found the right car.
What would Alicia say?
About the Millennium Falcon.
Now we're talking.
I found the perfect ride for the next car chat.
Our guest on Monday will be Suzanne Culliver from Access Property Management. She'll be there giving us nuggets of knowledge on the industry and what she's learned over the years. Hey, Susan, do you think your team can manage this place? I know you managed high-rise in the past. Can you manage this one?
Be sure to tune in on Monday for a special edition of Community Association Car Chat with David and Steve. I'll see you Monday.
Like that?
No.
So use this one, Steve?
No. What's wrong with you?
Like this?
No.
Like this, right?
For crying out loud. Your kid could do a better job than that.
Hey, Daddy, need any help?
No, I'll be fine. Daddy's going to call a professional.
Really? You're going to try and call it professional now? Fat chance. If you haven't done that 6 months ago, not going to get one right now.
You may be right, but I'm sure that my buddy Bruno can come and help us.
Oh, you mean Bruno Batista from that podcast? Bruno No BS?
Well, great idea, Steve. So let's do a car chat with him on Monday morning. He may share his experience and some good stories about the roofing industry, working on super expensive condos down there in Florida.
Maybe he can fill us in on where all the contractors are, too.
Let us know in the comments below what type of contractor was the most difficult for you to get a hold of.
I don't know. Il comprend pas là quand je parle. No.
C'est vraiment incroyable. C'est facile. Bonjour, je m'appelle Steve Roderick.
Bonjour, je m'appelle Steve Pellegrino.
At least say avion. Avion en French, Pellegrino en italien.
Avion.
No. Can you say marin?
Marin.
Nicolas Marin. Well, because that's the guest on Monday morning on Car Chat. We'll be right there with you.
Silly me, I thought it was Nicholas Marin.
We'll be there on Monday morning with Nicolas Marin from Navigate Property Management. And you know what else he does?
Reserve studies.
And property management. Now, let's go back to the class. Au revoir.
Au revoir.
No, au revoir.
Omnivore?
So those are great ones. And there are so many, and I really had to kind of, for time's sake, kind of narrow it down to 3. The last one I put on there because, David, you just had a procedure to make your French accent even more heavily French. Is that correct?
Exactly. Yeah, I got a I'm getting a procedure
pretty soon. I'm trying to conquer my third biggest rational fear, which is the dentist. And I'm getting a procedure. Now I have a plate in my palate, so it's making the French accent way more French.
You gotta play with it. You gotta use it to its full extent. So this is a great opportunity. Steve, how is it working with David?
It's an absolute no. I'm kidding. No, working with David. No, it's actually our relationship. The banter that we have it's all real. It's all it's fun. It's easygoing. It's lighthearted, and I think that's why we have a pretty good response. People are very comfortable talking to us. We like to just poke a little fun back and forth.
Yeah, he's an easy target. So
So both of you always say that insurance isn't boring. So for the viewers that might not know David and Steve, what's your professional background? What do you guys do for a living?
Well,
we are actually both working for JGS Insurance as brokers and producers for the habitational world. So condominiums, high rises, apartment buildings, HOAs, and that's what we actually do for a living. So we're heavily involved in the community association industry. But before we started Car Chat, we actually didn't work together.
See, like when he's describing it, it already sounds boring. So that's really what I was trying to break, is to bring something, a flair that our industry does not really have right now.
And with the Community Association Car Chat, what was the genesis? How did it start?
Actually, it was a COVID solution that David came up with here. We were business partners with CAI, and we were on a committee together, and we were just kind of brainstorming because we were having trouble getting in front of people during COVID. And he was in sales, I'm in sales. And so David called me and said, "Hey, I got an idea for a webcast, podcast." And I said, "Okay, sounds great. I'm in. What's the character? What's the personality?" He says, "I'm not really sure yet." And my response was, "Well, every time I talk to you, David, you're in your car, going somewhere, doing something on a sales call." And so that's really how it began. It was David's idea, and we just gave it a personality.
Yeah.
I think the beautiful thing about working in obviously a mobile studio is when you're putting this together, there's so many variables that can happen when it comes to external interruptions. You're inside a car. The other thing too, when it comes to what type of technology setup, and David, you had sent this over to me, and I wanted to show everybody what really the mobile studio looks like for both of you to some extent. So you could talk a little bit about it. I appreciate that.
Sure. So actually, this one was I took the picture this morning. We just recorded an episode around 10 o'clock, episode 46, 47. And I have a mobile desk I bought on Amazon. It's called mobile desk. And I have my laptop sitting right there. Steve has a pretty big truck, so he uses the center console to put the laptop. And then we use a external webcam.
Simple webcam. Usually I'll have either 2 or 3 of them available for different shots because of lighting and whatnot. So it's helpful to have a little hub, wireless mouse. It's not real complicated stuff.
Yeah. So really anybody can do it. Ideally is maybe having some shades to block overexposure if you're doing it outside and sunny spot. Having a light can be very useful. Sometimes it's been my problem, and we're learning as it goes. Yeah. But yeah, those are the key elements. Would be solid webcam and something to hold your computer stable, and obviously having good connection. So that's a plus.
And the webcast is very entertaining. The topics are very, very really grab your attention. They're very important. What's your selection process when you have guests on, or when you're coming up with topics? How do you arrive at guest and topics?
Actually, that came out of a little bit of necessity, and also just trying to keep things broad and trying to help. So what we ended up coming up with was a formula. We try to have 3 different types of guests on rotation. So we like to provide a platform for business partners to tell the community association world what they do. We like to get the opinions and the experiences from the management side of things, from the management companies, managers themselves, board members. And then there's also industry people. So organizations like IRM, CAI, NJAA, and people that put on educational programs and networking programs for professionals and for managers and for communities as a whole. So we rotate those 3 types of guests to keep things so everybody can get a little bit of something out of it.
Exactly.
And
I'll follow up on what he was saying. Once we have these industries narrowed down, is finding interesting people online, people that may have a presence or have accomplished something recently. Recently, we had a Rachel Selwan from a community association institute in California North. Sorry, and she was just awarded something at a national level. So it was just a platform for us to understand exactly what she did different in the industry to get that award and to bring awareness to her accomplishment.
So the program's coming from the car. Your guests are typically in a car. I don't remember any episodes where they're not. So again, that level of coordination that has to happen and everything like that. With the community, with the car chat, you have a group page, I believe, on LinkedIn for it.
Yep.
And people can catch the episodes there. Obviously, if they're following both of you professionally on LinkedIn, they can also see the episodes as well. Now that we're getting into the tail end of this year and going into 2022, is there anything that you could reveal today, changes or ideas that you have going into 2022 for Car Chat?
I do always have plenty of ideas. It's just we work. So this is the team of two that you see, but this is also the most important part is the person that's behind the scene and making everything work smoothly. So that'll be Alicia Ambrose. Without her work, there's no Car Chat. But we're trying to find ideas that won't drive her completely crazy for next year, and that she will still talk to us. So maybe trying to have a Car Chat version that would be a live version. So we're kind of tinkering with the idea, so we can bring back some guests that we had last year and get their new take on things, but giving a fresher look and a fresher approach, and approach the whole interview differently, because now we can maybe target a specific topic with that person and just talk about it for 20-30 minutes.
Now, currently you're recording your episodes. You've also, I believe, have done a couple test live streams. Are you looking to get involved in 2022 and doing some live streams?
Sure, absolutely. So the recording that we have done so far to date, it was helping with our guests, making them feel comfortable, that there was a lot less pressure. So it brought out a certain type of conversation that was very easygoing. But now that we've established that as our conversation and our style, it's really lending itself towards live, and it's making things a lot easier for us, and it's a lot less intimidating now that people know what to expect.
Yeah, and now that we have our brand from the Car Chat, people can know what to expect. So that really takes an edge off the difficulty to have somebody on a live stream.
Yeah, there's so many advantages over recorded content. And so let's move into the topic really we want to focus on, which is talking about webcasting and why people should get involved as content creators, webcasters, podcasters. When I get, after every broadcast, I will get direct messages, I will get emails from people who say, I want to do what you're doing, and how can I start? How can I start being a content creator? My first topic or conversation I have with them is talking about the passion. And what I mean by that is, if you're working in a certain industry and you want to talk about topics related to that industry, or maybe you have a personal topic that you want to go out and create content or webcast or podcast or live streaming, you really have to have a passion for that subject matter. The other thing is that you have to have a passion for content creation and sticking to it. And what I mean by that is, a lot of people say that I never shut up. And one thing that really for me, it was more of a change for me, was when we went into partial lockdown and whatever we went through, obviously through the pandemic. Now, all of a sudden, I'm doing everything virtually. Before, I'd get on a plane, do sessions, meet with people, go to conferences. Now, all of a sudden, I'm behind a computer, behind a camera. And so it made a logical path for me to kind of reinvent myself, and now to really step up the game of content creation And so you have to have that passion. The other thing too that I will point out to a lot of people is once you get a system going, and I think hopefully both of you agree with this, once you get a system going, it becomes a very easy process.
Mm-hmm.
You repeat it over and over again. And you might have support, like you have support, or you might be a solo person. And I always say, if I can do it, anybody can do it. And you both said that pretty much the same thing too.
Yeah, and you have a very good point there. Having a passion for what is the core of that webcast is important. I think originally when I reached out to Steve, the real goal for us was to connect people. People had this yearning for connecting with each other, and there was no real channel, especially within our industry, the community association world. So trying to create a channel, that was really the root. That my passion is really connecting with people and connecting people together. So yeah, go ahead.
And if I just add on that, what we came up with in the format actually lends itself to we're providing a platform for people to speak about their passions. We're not asking to do an interview. What we're doing is we're offering somebody a platform to speak about what they're passionate. So it comes out in the interviews that this is what they love to do and this is why they do it. So rather than saying, hey, do you want to come on our show? We have a list of people that are saying, when can I come on? What does your schedule look like? And so by providing rather than asking, that passion comes right through to the viewers.
Now there are people that we reach out to, and some people we also want to make sure our schedule falls in place with people that reach out. But eventually, like you said, the passion is really where it lies, and having that interest of yours, whatever it might be, you don't want to be selling. Like we never really talk about insurance, except sometime in the intro, but that's just about it. The goal is to pursue that, push it forward, and as far as your consistency you were talking about it, that is so key. You got to be dedicated to do it. If it was easy, everybody would do it, but it's not the case. But it's really an opportunity to step apart from the crowd, to do something personal, and you can't let things like having a metal plate in your mouth stop you from doing it. You just got to roll with it. If I wasn't passionate about it, I would not be here today.
Yeah, and we were talking about obviously how to find topics, and you want to kind of map out what type of topics you want to have, kind of pre-plan that. And for me, when I started off doing edited content that I would basically upload to my YouTube channel, and then as LinkedIn Live started to really come more into fruit out, it gave me an opportunity. And what that opportunity was, now I can take a live stream that we're doing right now, live broadcast. This will go out. It will live in a replay. And a lot of people watch the replay versus watch it live, and that's okay. No matter when they watch it, that's what I want them to do. I want them to walk away with a good feeling and also feel like it was worth their time watching and listening and participating if they post and everything like that. But the cool thing about doing a live stream is now all of a sudden I have, if I stream to Twitter like I do, to YouTube, that's also content on those platforms. I can take this content and I can subdivide it down into clips so that I have informative clips that I can put out there. I can take the audio and make it into an audio podcast. I can take the text of this conversation and make it into a blog. So there's so many ways I can do it. And no matter what industry you're in, this is an opportunity that really presents itself today to all of us. And it doesn't matter what's going on in the outside world. We all need to communicate. We all need to share knowledge. And we also need to talk to other subject matter experts. And that's what's really critical about some of the opportunities that LinkedIn Live and other platforms have offered all of us. And so I definitely highly encourage you to get involved in some of the streaming, because I think it just opens up a wider universe for the Car Chat.
Absolutely, and I think that's the natural evolution of it. And hopefully,
I see much more live streaming from us in the very near future. As a matter of fact,
we had a webinar series that we were working on throughout 2021. And I think we're going to shelve that for 2022, at least for a good portion of it, and move to just like the
the live version of those webinars, because we've been getting good response on the couple of trials that we've done actually from this room, and people like the view, so we're going to keep that going.
Yeah, very impressive background there, and it's all real too. It's not like my background here. So, for guest qualification, when I had started LinkedIn Live, for me was relatively in February of this year, and build out started pretty much at the beginning of June. I did a couple episodes broadcast, and then all of a sudden I had a lot of subject matter experts and professionals reaching out to me. And what I was amazed with, the first thought that many watching might say, well, they want to sell their products or services. They want to promote, they want to use you as a platform to promote themselves. If you go back and you watch any of my broadcasts, you don't see that. In fact, I have to drag out of them typically, tell me what you do and give me some professional background. And that's usually the biggest element of a pitch. And I'm the one driving that, because people need to know who the guests are, what's their background. You need to qualify them. So, that selection process is important so that you have relevant topics and that your subject matter experts are really in tune with what is in the industry or what people want to learn or hear about. The other thing is, and this is where both of you get it so well, and this is where I appreciate what you do, and I want to emulate what you do. I want to try to kind of not steal from you, but I want to kind of match and mirror what you do, is the promotions that you do in the social media. And I go back to those clips. Those clips are absolutely amazing. And David, I must ask this question. On the one with Bruno Batista, did you actually build a structure so you could do that?
So no, the story is I took apart my fence, and in the process, I broke that plank. So now my wife's pretty mad, but I gotta fix it. But we go all out on trying those things. But yeah, it's gonna cost me some time. I guess next weekend or something that I'm gonna do that eventually. So hot topic. So don't bring it up.
Oh, sorry about that. But to the point that Steve pointed out there, getting a contractor, it's I have home improvement going on right now, and it was difficult to find an available contractor, and even sometimes with the trades too. Right now, it's a challenge out there. So if you do need to have a professional tradesperson come to work on your fence, you better start earlier than as Steve said, 6 months.
No kidding. It's actually we had the fence built during the pandemic, and it was absolutely impossible to get somebody to build that thing. In the meantime, I broke it. So great.
So obviously with the team, Alicia, both of you, who comes up with the concepts for these promos?
Mostly David.
David, very good.
Got it. Yep.
Yeah,
give credit where credit is due.
Well, thank you. So typically the way we work these is first thought is how can we absolutely drive Alicia to insanity? That's step one. And then we obviously want to tie in as much as possible to a relevant piece of content within the interviews. That could be, the hook or what drives the interest of some of our viewers to watch the full episode, because 10 minutes is the maximum you can have on a recorded episode, a recorded piece on LinkedIn. It's a lot different when you do a live, but to have somebody watching all 10 minutes, you got to find something in it that get them to watch past the first 30 seconds. Yep. So trying to get that hook and making it funny. That's why we put on Saturday. People are not going on LinkedIn to get some bad news on the weekends. They do it because they're either a little bit addicted or they're crazy about LinkedIn. Or they just want to catch up on things. And if we can put a smile on their face, there's more chances that they're going to follow that.
Yeah, I know when I posted recorded content, Saturday seemed to be a very good day to post stuff. And you would think it would not be, but a lot of people, to your point, I think they're in there, they're looking to make connections, or they're just checking posts and things like that. So it always seemed to be a good day. And earlier I posted, but I'm going to bring us back up again, where Alicia said she's ready for the crazy ideas. So she's primed and ready for 22, guys.
She's a good sport. She's a good sport.
Yeah. When you're putting out content, what type of follow-up mechanism do you have? Are people directed to a website? Is there a mail list, a subscription? email list or anything like that people join to get notifications when you guys put content out?
So that is one of the things that we need to improve on 2022. Sorry.
That's okay.
So
yeah, that's on our list of things to really to get together to improve on, so we can engage with our audience more effectively. What we did find out early on was that by putting it out in multiple channels, we were kind of diluting and not being able to track where it was going and get responses. So that's why we leave it pretty much to LinkedIn. We took it down from a couple different platforms just so we could focus on that, so we can engage and we can do a better job of that. So that's part of our goal for 2022, is to improve that engagement after the episodes.
And as far as the initial reach out, yes, we do have that a promo that is fun, but there's a couple new tools available on LinkedIn to be able to push out notification. And the idea is to figure out what our path is forward, first for the format of Car Chat for 2022, and then especially if we're going to start doing some more live or restream live, then we will be able to have a different promotional format and use that to our best of our capabilities. I'm speaking in circles again. Cut.
So let's move into our final topic, which is really talking about equipment and other types of resources that are needed when you're either doing. Let's focus on a live broadcast. Right now, you have DSLR cameras. You have multiple cameras set up. You have a heavy investment when it comes to not only your car setup and the auto setup, but also let's call that a studio that you're in right now.
Mm-hmm.
What type of setup do you have there?
Right now, it starts with a cardboard box on which we have the laptop sitting on. It was just a last minute adjustment, but it always starts with a cardboard box. But no, we do have a DSLR camera that is converted to a Elgato Camlink adapter into a webcam, so we can have a nice crisp picture. On this side right here, you can see the lights coming this way. We have a LumeCube panel on a tripod.
Can you light up this camera here?
Yeah, sure. We do have another camera that is connected. Let me just log on to it. There you go. Can you see there you go.
There you go.
All right. So if I can show you guys what this looks like, but I'll pull back the curtain and show you guys the wizard. So there's the DSLR, LumeCube, laptop, microphones,
and coffee.
Coffee.
You always need a cup of coffee.
Yeah, you always need coffee.
All right, and switch it back. The equipment has evolved over time. And the goal is to just look for ways to improve what you're doing. So for us, we're on the road. We're doing our job. And it's being open to the feedback, whether feedback from other content creator or when Alicia has a criticism, don't take things personally. When you work with somebody in your office to work on something, if somebody is in your office giving you a piece of advice, don't take it as criticism. It's constructive response. You need to use it. If you have shadows or this or that, just find a way to fix it. Reach out to other content creators that have fixed that issue and can move forward and push.
We've definitely had our bumps along the road. One of the clips you showed earlier was actually it burned up an entire laptop, a whole machine on my part when I got caught in a storm. So there's been some bumps, and we just keep going forward, just figure it out, keep moving.
Yep.
Yeah, I do appreciate the feedback. I've actually had recently someone say to me, Jim, you need to look at the camera. And like right now, if you really look at it, it looks like I'm not looking at the camera. I really am to some extent, but I also too, because I'm my own producer, I have to monitor chat and everything else that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I wanted you to show your studio and talk about it is that the other question I get asked a lot is, man, it must be a lot of investment you have to put in equipment. So my rig, I can't really show you my setup here, but what I have is I have for streaming and even for recording, I use a Chromebook, a $300 Chromebook.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I have an HD webcam. I have a Blue Yeti microphone, and then I have, like you have, I have some studio lights and an earbuds. So probably invested here with the lighting that I have and a laptop and everything, probably about $500, $600. And so it's not expensive. The platform that I use to create, build out, and other content I do is StreamYard. I can record. I can really go live on multiple platforms with this. And the other thing too I can do is I can do pre-recorded and then also stream those out as well. Canva does all the graphics, and it's super easy to use. And both the StreamYard subscription and the Canva subscription, relatively inexpensive. Not that overly expensive to put out really good content. So, and I point that out because anybody, like I say, if I can do it, anybody can do it. And it really, like I say, with a passion, and then depending on what you want to do, I would love to have what you both have. And that's ultimately where I'll probably work towards. But right now, I can produce the way I am with relatively a minimal investment. And that's where I say everyone needs to start at. Because you could get into it and you're not really sure. I'm sure both of you probably said, what are we doing? Is this going to work out?
But you just gotta jump in and figure it out. The DSLR actually, I think today is the very first time that we actually use it.
Never used it before.
We never used it before. But that's my personal camera, and I'm looking at it. Literally, I'm sitting at my desk, and it's sitting on the shelf. I'm thinking, I haven't touched it in a while. I'm looking online. The camera is still on the shelf at Best Buy. It's still a current camera. I'm thinking, what am I doing? Why don't I figure out how to improve? But you got to start somewhere. This mic is $50. You can find great mics for that kind of money. We do have limitations sometimes, and sometimes we screw up.
It's been an evolution as well. Yeah. We didn't make a list and say this is what we're going to need. We have to go shopping now and buy this. What it started out as was just our laptop cameras in our respective vehicles, and we recorded an invitation, and that was the start of it all. And then as we've been going along, we've been figuring out what would make it better. So, and as we figure out things that will make it better, we may find the need to purchase something or just use things that we already have. Steal it.
Steal it. Yeah. The other thing too that I learned, and a lot of great videos on YouTube about things you can do. I have a couple iPhones. I have a newer iPhone. I have one or two older iPhones we just keep for safety, just in case we break one. Those can be turned into extra cameras. And so that if you have, I think you said you had an Elgato. And that gives you the ability to switch and go to different camera angles if you want to do that. I know a lot of times there are sound effects that could be done with some of the boxes like the Elgato and everything like that. So there's so many ways you can really customize. The other thing too that I wanted to really kind of touch base with you both is that when you are putting content out there, how does that impact your work? Was there any issues related to legalities or just the branding of the company versus what you're doing? Did you tackle any of those issues?
So, do you want to speak on that?
Sure. Actually, it's all been wonderful. All good stuff, no bad. In fact, the conversations that we have on our show and the interviews that we do and the platform that we provide, it opens doors and it opens conversations that we may or may not have had before. We create relationships. People will contact us and how do I get in touch with so-and-so that you just had on your show last week? So we're connecting people. We're having conversations, and it's as far as our personal brand, we try to stay a step back from it and give it to our guests as a benefit for them. So really, in that light, it's we try not to do too much self-serving, if you will, or self-promotion. It's a platform for the people that we have on and connecting those people.
And as far as pushing it with GGS, the organization has been very, very good to us as far as putting resources available to us to do what we do. It's useful to us on our personal level, but we can see too how it's impacting the company culture and how people view it. In the field, we see that message that we talked about insurance isn't boring. Whether friends or foes, people do recognize that, and having a webcast has been so impactful in pushing that message across.
One of the last piece of advice that I have when I talk to people who want to get into podcasting, webcasting, or streaming is if they're working for their company or organization, you do want to have a discussion with the company, with the organization, so that first off, that there are no issues related to legalities, branding, competitiveness, let's say. And the other thing is, in some cases you might be working with a corporate marketing team where you're kind of in a way working outside of it. So you want to make sure that you're not considered working on the outside, or you're trying to undermine what their mission is when it comes to marketing. It can be difficult, and I understand this. It can be difficult sometimes to completely separate yourself from your company or your organization when you create content. But I think if you could have an understanding and agreement going into that process, it's going to benefit you. And then ultimately, maybe your company or organization says, hey, we like what you're doing. We want to incorporate what you're doing. And how can we support you? How can we work together, collaborate with you? And then that could be directly through the aspect of the branding and pulled into the company or organization, or just supporting you as an independent voice out there in the industries.
Sure.
Very true.
Sure.
Very true.
We actually had to take that in consideration with guests as well.
Mm-hmm.
Managers, property managers as a whole, don't typically like to advertise themselves in the industry. And we didn't want to create an environment where it's people are headhunting, or people are trying to go out there and promote themselves as far as resumes. So we had to be careful with that. But other than that, like I said, it's all positives, no negatives.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. David, Steve, what an awesome interview this has been. Before we would close out the broadcast, is there any wisdom, advice, recommendations you'd like to leave with the viewers?
Well, as far as that's concerned, I don't have a whole lot of wisdom to share, and I will guarantee you that. But as far as like your passion, just take it on the road, do what you want to do. If you have a message to put out there, just do it, and things will fall into place, and then you can fumble across, and you don't have to be Steven Spielberg to make those things work.
If I could add to that,
Definitely.
Sure. Add to my wisdom.
Sure, no problem. And actually, coming down from above, from our fearless leader, the director of the department, Mr. Ryan Fleming, action beats perfection every time. If you have an idea, get out there, put it out there. Don't be afraid. If you make a mistake, you learn from it and keep on going.
Yeah, you miss 100% of the shot you don't take. So if webcast is one thing that you think can help you, just do it.
Very good. Very good. Couple quotes I can pull out of that. I really appreciate that. It was a good closing thought on the recommendations.
You got to be careful, because I think "Just Do It" is trademarked by Nike.
So before we would end this broadcast, next week I have a very great content creator. I'm going to have actually Chris on from Manufacturer. We'll be talking about manufacturers get your message out. He's with the Manufacturing Happy Hour podcast. So that would be next Wednesday at noon Eastern Standard Time, now that we had the time change. I'm really looking forward to talk with Chris and talking about his webcast, and also too about podcasting and other things. So it should be an interesting conversation. David and Steve, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it. How can people get in contact with you?
Well, do you want to share your phone number? No, so you can go on our website, or just go to our LinkedIn handle, David Velasco, Steve Roderick.
Community Association Car Chat.
Yeah, and my email is dvelasco, DVELASCO, and obviously nobody can understand it because of my thing. So just hit us up on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Excellent. But David, good luck on your work that you have, the dental work or whatever you have coming up.
Yeah, it'll be fun. I'll make sure we do a post on that when it's all said and done.
Yeah, I believe it's referred to as accent reconstruction.
You have to videotape that. Are they going to put you under, or are you going to be wide awake?
No. I'll be under and staying over the hospital for it'll be a couple of days.
You have to vlog that, or get Steve, you'll have to go and vlog that. Okay.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. The surgeon told me, he said, when you're gonna get out of this, it's gonna look like you went into a bar and you started a fight with your own group of people, and it's gonna be bad for a couple of weeks. So we'll see what happens. We got stuff pre-recorded, so we're good.
Oh, okay, good. I was going to ask that question too. Any interruption, but no, content must go on.
Content must go on.
I don't think we haven't missed a week other than holidays.
Yeah, we had 2 holidays thing, but we're going on every week. Contract's been going on.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. And then use a pre-recorded where you need to. So, all right, David, Steve, have a good rest of your day. Everybody, thank you for joining, and we'll see you next Wednesday at noon Eastern Standard Time.
All right, Jim. Thanks a lot.